AB on the track, yeah.
What is there to fear? I'm from Black America, it's just another year. You knew the disrespect by your elected puppeteers, but let me show you how to persevere. Cause get up every...
That's true. They had that inflection of voice. Yeah. Trying to beat old play, you know, for real. Oh, those are the comments from YouTube and Facebook.
Let's go.
Because we go live like 2 minutes before this broadcast. See, like a cat be getting beautiful. My cat getting beautiful, I'll be setting stuff up in the background. So that's why she be like, what's the technical part of it? And I just be like, don't worry, baby, I got it. I'm driving. You know what I'm saying? I got you. If you don't know who we're listening to right now, we got Tupac. Tomorrow, what's good, cuz? I see you. Happy Mother's Day, boo. Happy Mother's Day. Hope you're enjoying yourself. Eat some crabs or something. If you don't know who we're listening to, this is Tupac, Dear Mama, off his Me Against the World album. I thought it was appropriate to play it today, considering it's Mother's Day. Shout out to all the mothers out there, wherever you are. Shout out to all the aunties, you know. They be taking care of their nephews and nieces like they're their own. Happy Mother's Day to everybody. Grandmamas, babies, mamas, all the mamas. The mamas that'll beat your butt in front of company. The mamas that'll call you out. The mamas. Oh, sorry, Izzy, you pausing up. Oh, I know you had crabs on deck tomorrow. I know you did. You didn't have to tell me twice. I already know I know the vibes. I know the vibes. If y'all want to know what we're talking about today, we're going to be talking about, because it is Mother's Day. We had planned to talk about this last week, but because that conversation went well and it went long, we decided to talk about this week. And what better day than today? We're going to talk about who's raising these children. I was with some family members the other day. We kind of talked about this a little bit. So we found appropriate, like, yeah, let's talk about that. Let's talk about these kids. Let's talk about creating boundaries. You know, what should we be offended about as parents? We're going to base this around a conversation that a teacher and a parent had. So it should be pretty good. But anyways, it's your boy, Jay DeCosta.
It is your girl, Katniss.
And together we are the Nitty Gritty. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Nitty Gritty Show. And as I stated before, we're going to be talking a little bit about raising these kids, about our community, our foundation, our legacy. Where does it go? How do we get things together if things are not together, right? And once again, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. Mama, I see you in the comments. Happy Mother's Day. Jasmine, I see you. Happy Mother's Day. Tomorrow, I see you. Happy Mother's Day. We're going to be giving those out. Let me drop a bomb for that real quick. You know. Also, shout out to our business shout out tonight. Shout out to Legacy Food Group, LLC. Shout out Bill and Joe Thompson. Had their food yesterday. We ordered it. All right, I'm going to go ahead and let Tupac simmer down. Shout out Tupac, dear mama. But once again, yeah, Legacy Food Group, Bill and Joe Thompson. Food is amazing. Look, y'all got to hit them up. If y'all want to find them, all you have to do is, and it's all one word, Legacy. Make sure I say this right. Legacy Food Group. All spelled out, no funky spellings. Legacy Food Group. You can find them on IG or you can find them on Facebook. Jonine, what's up, cuz? I see you. I hope you feel better. Shout out to all those taking your coronavirus shots, your vaccines. I heard that second dose ain't no joke. So anybody dealing with that, the aches, the pains, listen, our prayers go out to all of you, because I know that can't be easy. But yeah, so Legacy Food Group, once again, shout out to y'all. What did we have? We had a pulled pork spaghetti. It was bomb, right? I don't eat pork right there, but that one was fire. And then there was this, they had this sub on a homemade onion Kaiser roll. It was a turkey. It had turkey. I feel like it had something else on there too.
But it wasn't like deli meat turkey. It was like...
No, it was like they cooked the whole turkey and sliced that joint.
Yeah, like Thanksgiving season.
Yeah, like they took like a whole turkey from Thanksgiving and sliced it.
By far, I've had a lot of food, but they definitely were up there.
They put their foot in that. And then that barbecue sauce.
It was great.
So they had like this barbecue sauce with like, I guess like sauteed or grilled onions inside of it. And I mean, so you pour that on top of the sandwich, right? When I say amazing, y'all, I mean, they put their foot in that.
I'm not understanding why this is the first time you introduced this kind of food to me.
So I told you that my family, we got a lot of chefs and we got a lot of cooks in the family. I told you.
I'm playing games. You're playing all types of games.
Yo, but shout out Legacy Food Group. Food was amazing. If you're in the DMV area, check them out. You can follow them on IG, Legacy Food Group. They do cater, and I'm just gonna throw this out there. They might even come to your city and cater an event. You just got to work that out with them. They might do that because the family international. I mean, we got shout out to Eighth Knox, shout out to One Bite, shout out to DC Shy Pie. That's all family, but it's all good food. I wouldn't shout it out unless I knew it was official. Everybody that know me know I am a foodie. So when I tell you something that's good, I'm not gonna front, I'm not gonna cap. Food is amazing. So shout out Legacy Food Group. Food was amazing. Yeah, I really appreciate it. And the cake, I think it was like I forgot what they called it, but it was kind of like better than sex cake. But that cake was moist. It didn't need nothing. Man, it didn't need no ice cream, nothing. It was a straight good out of the cup. Like, that was it was on point. I wish I could have gave it to all the mamas on the stream. You know what I'm saying? But we ain't quite balling like that to be shipping y'all cake like that. So maybe one day in the future, y'all just keep on supporting the show. And as them advertising dollars get higher, yeah, we might send some Legacy Food Group y'all way. We might have to work that out. But anyways, let's get into it. Current news, obviously, happy Mother's Day. Shout out to all the mamas. Also, wanted to give, a lot of people are traveling right now, and big up to traveling. If you have the chance to go to like Mexico, the Caribbean, travel across abroad, go to Thailand, whatever, especially in the middle of a pandemic, you're blessed, and you should take advantage of that. But I want to make sure that everyone at least watching the show, those out there traveling, be safe. Make sure that you look up a country or have an idea of what the political environment looks like before you go there. Obviously, you know, we have situations going on right here in America, right? With racism and we have police brutality, right? So then also, I think it's only fair to say that we should be cognizant of when we travel to make sure that we're just aware of things that can go south. So right now in Colombia, they have a civil war basically going on. With the cops and police brutality there. Also, I think the government wanted to increase taxes by like 19%. That's a lot of money. That's something that might cause you to want to go to war real quick in your own country, if that's what they're saying. But, you know, people be safe. And if you see that, just know the facts before you go. There's people right now that are stuck in Colombia because they went down there. Obviously, they have a good time. Colombia is a great place to go travel. We all know that. But you know, if you're not aware of what's going on, just ignore it. If you're not aware of what's going on, then, you know, it happens, right? So, yeah, definitely be safe if you're traveling. Just wanted to put that out there for your own awareness, right? And then, of course, last night, I know Kat got some comments on this. I'm trying to get her to do Music Monday tomorrow to talk about it more so in depth. But go ahead, tell them. What was last night, Kat? What was last night?
Last night was Versus. It was Escape versus SWV. You already know, well, maybe you don't know, I'm a huge 90s R&B fan, my favorite genre of music. I came in thinking that SWV was going to kill it simply because in my mind they have bigger hits than Escape, but Escape came prepared, and I had to give it to the ladies. They came prepared, they sang live, they really prepared, had the DJ, they had matching outfits, they knew stories, and they dropped songs that Candy and Tiny wrote. And I feel like with SWV, I'm not sure what was going on, but like They didn't know what year they wrote the song.
Yeah,
they kept sitting there. They barely sang live.
Yeah.
Coco's energy was really weird, and I just don't understand because Coco can sing. My only critique of the live singing, I think Escape sounded good overall. However, I feel like, I don't know what it is with 90s R&B groups. The older I get, the more I realize the talent level. People always like, oh, 90s R&B groups can sing the best. When you really sit, like Coco can sing. I'll give Coco that. But when you really sit and think about the way they're singing is, what was that song she was singing? Like a woman, like a woman, like a woman. Like when you sing like that, I'm not sure that's really good singing because in reality, and then I'm off my soapbox, when it comes to singing, believe it or not, being able to sing a straight note, perfect tone, perfect pitch, in harmony and or in the right octave is actually requires more skill than when you keep doing stuff like that. That's not really like, after a while, if you keep doing it over and over for every word, it's not good singing. It's just all over the place.
It's yodeling. It's yodeling.
Point being, it was a very entertaining versus. I wish SWV came.
They definitely had them hits though.
Yeah, I wish SWV came like more. The only thing I will say about the verses about last night that I think was shocking was I didn't know Coco was on the Wild Wild West. That was like shocking to me.
And I didn't realize she was on Men in Black.
I mean, sorry, not the Wild
No,
West.
that Wild West. It was Men in Black.
I didn't realize that. I was like, oh.
And then when you hear the voice, you're listening, you're like, you know what? That is Coco. Where was my ears all these years that I didn't pick that up earlier?
That was shocking.
Yeah, that was
Shout out to Candy Birds because she did write some great hits. Great hits.
Yeah, she has.
And she had the girls prepared for Escape. So I think Escape won because they had the better presentation. So
they had really good energy. You can't knock that. I think they was out there having a good time.
Tawny sang. She did good.
Yeah, she did real good.
Okay.
I liked it. I enjoyed it.
Let me know what y'all think about verses and singing ability. But without
and if y'all want to hear Kat talk more about music and singing, like, can y'all just like leave something in the comments? If y'all want to hear a little bit of singing, possibly, can y'all just throw something in the comments? I'm trying to convince her to do Music Monday tomorrow. I was actually gonna talk about top 5, but then after she was so passionate about this singing, yo, Chris, shout out Chris. Chris was live with me on the Music Monday last night on Instagram.
And 90 singers love doing this, y'all, with their nails. Do you want to? They always got that, I'm so into you. I don't know what I'm gonna do.
That's all. So if y'all want to see her on Music Monday, drop some more mics. I like that, Jasmine. If you want to see,
y'all like the little nails.
If y'all want to see Kat on Music Monday tomorrow night at 9, drop some mics. So just letting us know you're in support of the girl being on Music Monday so she can talk this talk.
You can't be a 90 singer and not do your nails to your microphone.
You so silly. God, I hope you do Music Monday tomorrow night. Alright, so anyways, let's get down to the nitty gritty, y'all. It's Mother's Day. Lana, I see you, KC, in the building. Let me drop a bomb for the McKinneys.
Not the McKinneys first.
New mama in the building. Look, Jasmine put so many mics there. If you don't do Music Monday tomorrow, I don't know what to tell you.
The thing is, my Music Monday, just for your awareness, I don't know what Juan is expecting me to do, but I'm a very comedic person, and I find 90s music. This nail thing is really funny to me. But go for it.
It's not as structured as the regular show. I just feel like you should do it. Just do it. You're welcome, Lana. Hey, we appreciate new mamas. Shout out to all the mamas in the comments. We see you, Mamie. We see you tomorrow. We see you, Jasmine. You know what I'm saying? All the mamas. Mamas. Man, I'm going to throw Jonine in there. Shoot, she was like a mama to her little sister. All them years.
Jonine was like a mama to me.
I mean,
Jonine.
Big cuz. That's a mama right there. Happy Mother's Day, Jonine. We see you out there, boo.
Jonine is an extended mother to all of us young and little cousins. We looked up to Jonine.
Yeah, the big cousins always be there, right? And that's another mama. Let's get down to the nitty gritty, right? So today's Mother's Day. So what day better than the day to have this conversation about children? Who's allowed to correct the children? Who can chastise the children? And all of that good stuff, right? We have this issue with young men getting in trouble. Some of them are in and out of jail in some cases. We know that's not all young black men. But we do know there's a segment out there right? Because we are still, by percentage, the most imprisoned. You get what I'm saying? From the community. We make up too much of the prison population. So obviously something does go wrong at some point. And I don't think we all agree with how media tries to depict our women in certain instances. I think women should be allowed to be free, have their fun and all of that, but we do know there's a line as parents, right? Shout out to all the mothers, that you probably wouldn't want to be crossed. So let's talk about raising these children. And we're going to start off, Katrina, you had brought to my attention, I guess, something that went viral on social media about a week or two ago. There was a conversation between a teacher. So can you give the folks a little bit of detail about what happened there? And then we'll unpack it like all the rest of the black intellectuals say, and we're going to have a conversation. Unpack it.
Yes. So the scenario, really quickly in a nutshell, was that it was a back and forth between a teacher and a parent. So allegedly the child was getting smart with the teacher in the classroom. The child felt they were defending other classmates. In the process of that back and forth with the teacher called out the child's grade. So the parent was infuriated because she felt like the teacher was disrespectful for calling out the child's grade, and that there should be some kind of privacy act that should have been followed. In exchange with that back and forth, the teacher said, well, you're basically focused on the child's grade, but you're not focused on the behavior or the fact that I've reached out to you more than once to talk about the child's grade. And the parent basically had the stance of, if my child is disrespectful, you allow me to discipline them. It's not for you to embarrass my child or try to discipline them. That's for me to do, and we can talk about ways in which my child can do better in the classroom to raise their grade. So the question at hand here is, if a child is disrespectful, whether it's your child or a child period, when is it appropriate to discipline that child? And maybe it's not discipline in the matter of you're hitting or beating the child, but do you have a right to give that child the same energy they're giving you? Because oftentimes I do hear that teachers are expected to play a higher role in it all. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think sometimes what it is they expect teachers to be like non-humans and like perfect. It's like, for instance, the first question I had to that whole thing is, should kids be disrespectful to teachers or adults in general? Right? And I think that's a serious question. Should kids be disrespectful? Chris has a comment. He said for an adult to respond that way is a problem. So he has a problem with how the teacher responded. I'm assuming. You can clarify that, Chris, if you need to. But I think the first thing to address is, before anything was said to the child was disruptive in class. Right? Well,
the child claims they were defending their classmates. I'm not sure as to what scenario was going down.
I mean, but still, at some point, we know what happened first is so Chris was saying, yeah, like, definitely I'm doubling down on that. He said, but at what point do you correct the child for being sassy to an adult? I come from a generation, the way I was raised by my parents, is if you start talking out of a line to the adult is doing something wrong by you, you try to excuse yourself from the situation while being respectful. You go get your mama, you go get your daddy, right? You go get another teacher if you feel like that might work, and you let them deal with it. I wasn't even allowed to be in a room when my mom had to go deal with something on my behalf at the school, because I had to stay in the child's place. I couldn't be behind her, cheerleading. Yeah, what my mama said, nah. Because, I still get popped in the lip for that. It's, all right, you told me what's going on, and then she going to verify, and then she's not going to just jump on the teacher. She going to verify that as a child, I'm not lying. Right?
Yeah. So basically, for everybody's awareness, basically it was like one of those exchanges back and forth. The teacher basically said something sassy back. Probably, it sounded like a black teacher. That's why you got 55 in my class and you failing right now. Like, something like that. So the parent was like, oh no, you trying to embarrass my kid. But my thing is, okay, it's a couple things. One, some of these kids are really, really bad. Like, I have seen, witnessed, and have heard of
Shout out to all of y'all working in education.
Kids
Shout out Jasmine.
Who are cussing out teachers, telling them what they gonna do, how they gonna get there, saying they gonna stab this bee, I'm gonna kill her, I'm gonna do this. Like, these are literally children saying these things. I feel like if a child is bold enough to come toe to toe with me, similar to anybody, I can't say that I'm going to have just this uber grace of this child. I don't know this almost adult. Mm-hmm. You give me that energy, I'm giving you that same energy back, boo-boo. And if you get that grown woman strength on you, then guess what? That's what you're going to get, because you not about to just come toe-to-toe to me. You a child and should know how to stay in a child's place.
I agree. Jasmine made a good comment. She said an adult should not argue with a child. However, any adult should be able to correct a child that's being disrespectful. So, and then, so like when I heard this story, you got the child being disrespectful to the adult. That's the first problem, right? But then the next step is, I guess we don't like how the teacher responded. But then it's kind of like, well, how? I mean, still, because I mean, like Kat said, we've seen some kids, they'll threaten to beat somebody behind. I'll fight you. I'll cut you. You get what I'm saying? Like, when somebody's threatening you, how are you going to deal with that? And at some point, in a constructive way, we should be able to say, so-and-so, you need to sit down. You should be able to elevate your voice in a commanding tone. Yeah, I know people get worried about tone, but some tones have command to it. You should be able to command some type of discipline, like so-and-so, stop. You should be able to say, go to the principal's office. I don't want to hear you come at me as the teacher or as the local disciplinarian and say, you don't raise your voice to my child. No, your child was calling me everything but a child of God and using words that I'm not even comfortable hearing in rap music all the time.
No, but that's what they're going to say. They're going to say, you have no right to yell at my kid or call my kid's grade out. But the reality is, I mean, people are human. Like, you want this, I don't even know how to describe it, but you want basically somebody to be disrespected and feel like, oh, well, they're immature and they're thinking, I'm an adult, so I should be able to be calm. Like, that's very hard to do. It's very hard to be that rational when someone is taking you to another level of and they're being disrespectful.
Because we've seen countless, and I feel like the middle school kids are the worst. I feel like their hormones are all crazy and they're going through puberty and they're trying to figure out where they are. But we've seen countless videos go viral where some kid thinking it's cute jumps up in the teacher's face, I'll hit you, mother, blah, 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 blah. And then you see them hit the teacher. God forbid that teacher body slammed that Bama back because you attacked me.
Oh, I forgot to mention one key point. So the teacher did tell the parent, when the parent was like, it's not your place to embarrass my kid, the teacher did make clear, while you're focused on that, I could have sent your child to detention, but I didn't.
Which will hurt their actual record in school. Also, I think another key point is the teacher had made the comment to the mother, if I'm correct, that, hey, look, I've been trying to reach out to you about the grades. Because, see, I know, like, my parents are old school, and I can speak for mine. I can speak for myself as a parent. While my kids know I don't tolerate disrespect to adults. I don't care who it is. We don't play picks in that. You respect adult authority, period. As long as nobody's touching your vagina or your penis or doing something weird to you or beating you down like you some dude on the street, you're going to respect adults, period. There is no question in that. Second thing is, I think when we're talking about, adults dealing with their kids, and I think as adults, at some point, you should be concerned about your child embarrassing you out in the streets talking crazy to adults. You should be concerned about your child being able to be embarrassed about their grade at a 54%. Two things that's going to ring out to me as a parent is, first of all, who are you to be talking to an adult like you're crazy? And the second thing that's going to still ring out to me is, you got a 54. Oh, DeCostas, we don't fail grades.
But there are
you get what I'm saying? Like, when do we even take care of that part of the issue? And in that exchange that I saw, it seemed like it was more concerned about feeling disrespected and all of that versus dealing with the fact that your child was disrespectful and your child looks like a dummy on paper. They're not handling their business. I'm going to call it what it is. At some point, you should be concerned about how your child is disrespecting your brand as a parent. It's making you look like you don't care about their grades or care about them being respectful out in public. When do we care about that?
I didn't know that there was
a
parental brand, but yeah.
No, there is a brand. Because if your kids go out there act a fool, they make you look dumb. That's why your parents used to say all the time before you go in the store, don't do this, don't do that, don't be embarrassing me out here in these streets. Every black kid in this comment, if you're watching this right now, you heard it at some point, like drop some fire from you or a bomb. You heard that conversation before you went into the store.
I'm gonna read
so this ain't
comments.
crazy.
There's a couple comments on Facebook.
Yeah, read Lana's comments and I'll read the ones off of Facebook because there's some good ones I want to bring up.
Okay, so Lana was saying you don't raise your value, but you can increase the level of sternness. If a child feels disrespected, then ask them to communicate that. Adults should have a better control of emotions. respect is difficult because some adults are disrespectful. I can get with Lana.
Okay, yeah, and there's a certain line, like, you know, you get the cussing back at the kid, and you start yelling out of anger, and all that kind of stuff. When you get to the point that you're yelling, and you've obviously lost control, that's one thing. But when you have a stern voice, much like the voice they teach you to have in the military, I used to work at a detention center when I was still in college. Me and a bunch of my college friends actually did it for a while, and there was a way when working in this detention center, it was like basically a jail for teenage boys. There was a way that we had to go to them. And there was a way that we were allowed to actually hold and grab them in the event that they got violent with one another or with us. We didn't have mace, we didn't have billy clubs, you couldn't strike them, but there was a way to hold them that was okay by the state and the federal government when dealing with kids like this. But let me read some comments. Jasmine said, embarrassing a child, no, that should never happen, but some kids do test you. I'm not going to lie. Shout out to Jasmine. She works with, she works in education. But I don't know that a tough one. If you come to me crazy, I'm coming back, laugh out loud. But I think I would come at the parent about their child. I'm not about to argue with no child. Okay, I feel you on that. Chris said, my question is, what is the teacher saying that was disrespectful? We have to reevaluate what is disrespectful.
Woo!
I like that.
Because we get sensitive nowadays. We're going to have to come back on sensitivity and, you know, we got to be sensitive.
Because that's a really good point. Christopher made another, he said detention was a more appropriate response. Putting that child on blast was stopping on his or her stooping to their level. I see what you mean there.
Yeah, the teacher was sassy.
Yeah, there was no need to go about it like that. I feel you. And then Jasmine said, absolutely, middle school is crazy. We actually just have an educational assistant get fired because him and a behavioral student got into it. The child took the teacher to a place by calling him a nigga. Okay. And if this was a white kid, that's going to test any black person watching this right now. And saying, come see me and push him and take him into a pushing war. The teacher ended up getting fired because he didn't walk away. But again, he's human, and this particular child was being very disrespectful to a lot of the staff. But because he is a child, it was no tolerance, and they let him go. And Jasmine dropped some fire because he heard that conversation as a kid too. Don't go in that store, don't ask for nothing, don't touch nothing. And then Chris said adults have to always set the example. There's a way to respond without setting a bad example. So I agree there, but so you got to walk this line, right?
Well, it starts at home.
Well, I was just about to go there. So one thing that they found, so I used to do some community stuff back when I lived in Tennessee, right? And they talked about, you know, the triangle of violence. You have, at one point, you have the victim. At another point, you have the person, the criminal, the person committing the crime. And at another point, you have the location. So then when you're trying to fix this triangle of crime, it's like, okay, do you focus on this point, or that point? So when we're talking about the triangle of respect, right? You have the parent, you have the child, and you have the teacher. Now, one thing we found in the triangle of respect, child, parent, and then teacher, we talk about this in the PTA. We talk about the importance of the parent being involved as much as possible, right? If you have time to text back and forth because you felt like your child was disrespected by you, the teacher, then at some point you have time as a parent to respond to that email when they say your child is failing. I'm a firm believer, and this is what I've practiced, is that, your children, you should want to be part of the PTA or PTSA, whatever they say in your state. You should want to be a delegate. You should have a relationship where you may work odd hours, but, these days we have technology. You have cell phones, you have emails. Yeah, okay, you're at work during the school day. You can't afford to do that. But when you get home, before you watch Housewives, before you play the video game, before you do whatever you do to relax, or at some point maybe after that, you respond to an email or you send an email to them teachers. Maybe you can't make the teacher-parent conferences, but you can still have communication with that teacher and reach out, right? What's been proven, and this is discussed at almost any PTA you go to, the more involved you are as a child, the better relationship typically your kids have with the student, right? Because if we focus all the attention to one point of the triangle being the student, then how do we really get to the student if the parent is not engaged? And then how does the teacher have to come in and now be mama to the child, right? That's not fair. And if you focus just on the teacher, what does the teacher do when you got somebody just as big as you in high school swinging at you? Because I'm sorry, if I'm a high school teacher, you swing on me, you about to get dealt with. You about to get all these 10 plus years of military training.
Well, if
I feel like my life is threatened,
well,
that's why I ain't gonna teach
I'm gonna go back to the root of a lot of the problems. Is that there are a lot of people who are having children who shouldn't have children, and so the cycle of confusion, dysfunction, disrespect, and no accountability consistently thrives among families because people just out here doing whatever. I come from the mindset of being in covenant with somebody, and then having my children. Now, I get that is not the standard for people, and there should be nothing wrong. This is not me looking down on it, but when you're having children unplanned, and you're trying to work, and you're trying to be a mom and a dad, and maybe you weren't prepared to be a mom, you don't have the time to pour into the child, to nurture the child. So now the child is getting nurtured and taught from the streets or from other people or from YouTube, and they're going into school being hellions, and other kids are having a hard time learning because you don't want to learn. And I do know that from what I'm hearing about virtual learning, there are kids who flat out they not even on Zoom. Okay, they just pretending that they on Zoom, but they ain't learning and nothing. And so kids nowadays, because of virtual learning, are failing. They're not up to grade level, and unfortunately, parents are going to blame the teachers. But the reality comes down to when you decide to actively have a child, you've got to figure out a way to be involved. I don't know what that looks like for you because I don't know if you have a village, but that's why they say it takes a village to raise a child. Because if you can't be there, there should be an adult who can sit down with your kid, make sure that they're logged onto Zoom, attending their class, they understand their material, and they're actively involved. And if that kind of arrangement is not set up, then you are part of the problem as to why your kid is the way they are.
And at some point as parents, we have to ask ourselves the question, because I like what Chris said right here. He said when I was a high school football coach, I almost lost it on one of the players. I had to look in the mirror and ask myself, was I ready for that challenge? Some people may not need to be in the classroom.
And right? I'm one of them, Christopher. I don't like bad children. Period, point. But I do not like bad children. And the justification of, they have a crazy personality, or they're having a tantrum, Timmy's having a tantrum. That couldn't work for me. My personality, if I can't deal with all that crying and crazy and foolishness. I don't like kids that are foolish. Like, I can't do it. So I'm with you. I can't do that. I'm more of a, let me come in, be a mentor speaker, and I'm out.
And two more other good comments. One back from Chris again. He said, yeah, people shouldn't have children if they're not prepared. It's not fair to the child.
Ooh.
And
sorry, I was drinking my water. I wasn't prepared for that comment.
And then Mamie made a good point, and I know she was going to say something like this. She said that parents need to be on top of their child's behavior.
Well, our generation, Mama Mamie, we are the generation of our parents were very stern and talked tough to us, and we felt disrespected. So I hear a lot of new age moms saying, I want my kids to express themselves. I want them to have a tantrum, and I want to be able to give them the opportunity to really tell me what's wrong. And I think that overcorrecting is a thing.
Yeah, so shout out to Pastor Watley. He did a series a few years back, and he was talking about getting back to the basics and getting back to the family. And one of the things he talked about is what Generation Xers and Millennials have done in child rearing is they overcorrect. So it's like you're driving a car, you have to move out the way. Now, if you just spin the wheel, you're going to end up flipping the car over, right? But if you just slightly bend it and then go out the way, just slightly steer and slightly steer out the way, you still have control of the car, but then you can correct without leading yourself into more danger versus hitting the back of a car running into a wall. So, my bad, I didn't mean to break in here.
No.
But what happens is, as parents, especially dealing with Generation Xers and Millennials, we've got to this point where we've overcorrected, right? There were things that we didn't have growing up. Our parents beat the brakes off of us back then. I'm talking about extension cords, water hoses, throw a shoe at you. It was my way or the highway.
Yeah.
I mean, but then again, they pay the bills, so it really is their way or the highway.
They may yell, cuss.
You know what I'm saying? Go off, right? And then maybe we may have lacked the balance of communicating and understanding where the child is. Why did you get into that fight at school? Because you just don't want to beat the child's behind. Then you find out, they're getting jumped by the local Bloods and Crips at school. Because that happens. they're getting thrown in dumpsters. That happens. You know what I'm saying?
You should know.
So at some point, we need to see that happens, and it's like, all right, that's not how you deal with these things. Get us involved, but let's find a way to deal with this, right? Because sometimes, and that's that. So I think that's the overcorrect is we said, well, since they didn't hear me out, and this, when I do my kids, I'm not disciplining at all.
Yeah.
That's gonna flip the car over, right? Because shout out to Dr. Paul Wells. Men, especially young men, between the ages of 10 to 17, if they have little to no accountability, these are the young men that we see in and out of jail. It's a proven fact, a stat. You see it on Pew Research. Brookings Institute did a talk about this as well when I was verifying the information. So kids have to have accountability at some point, and I think the proper way to steer and come back and say we don't want to correct our children, we don't want to chastise our children to the point that we harden them. It has to be a soft thing. So it's like, okay, let me go to them and have a conversation. What went on at the school? Why did this happen? Have I raised you to act this way? Let's have a conversation first. Let's establish that the child knows that they're wrong. Or let's see if we can get the truth out of that first. Then it's, all right, well, maybe before you lend any punishment, and you know what? I'm going out to the school tomorrow. I'm going to have a conversation. We're going to get down to the bottom of what happened. Then, if after we've heard all the facts and we realize, well, okay, I let the teacher know she shouldn't be talking to you like that, but at the same time, we need to address the fact that you was disrespectful with the teacher, and we need to also address the fact that you have a 54 in that class. What the heck is going on? And then we might start dealing out some type of correction or some punishment. But that's not an oversteer of saying that you don't correct the child at all and you just don't get at the teacher, because that's a car that's about to flip over going 50 miles an hour.
For you and the audience, do you think that, and specifically with black children, do you think that correction and accountability is shaky because there is a lack of male authority? And the reason why I ask this is because I can tell you from growing up, when my mom said no, we sometimes would still try her. I don't know why. We would still sometimes try her like, she just playing. But when Dad said no, we knew it was a done deal, case closed.
We didn't play no games with her.
So I'm wondering, with the lack of male leadership, do you think kids are like, well, my mom, she a little lax? Do you think that maybe that's what's going on?
I think what happens is, and ladies, y'all might get mad at me because it's Mother's Day. I'm not supposed to be saying stuff like this on Mother's Day. But let's be honest, mamas tend to be a little bit more emotional than fathers. So I think what I've seen firsthand, now that I'm an adult and I look back on it, hindsight is always 20/20. And I look back at it, when our dad corrected us, it was more so like, these are the rules. It's very black and white. I said this. I don't care if it's a good day or a bad day. I said this. You didn't do this. You're going to get in trouble, right? My mom, I love you, mama. What I noticed with my mom is, if it's a good day and things are going well, mama might not pop you directly, but mama still realize you being a little out of pocket today. And then what happens is, finally, mama might have a bad day, but you have been disrespectful. You earned that butt whooping that day, but because they wasn't consistent in that moment, they kind of held on to it. Because women are emotional. Y'all kind of hold on to things a little differently. And then what happens is, then when you get whooped for the next thing, you're not just getting whooped for that thing. You're getting whooped for all the other whoopings she graced you.
Yeah.
And now they're like, you're getting a cumulative whooping all together, right? And I've seen this a lot with women, like this now being an adult and just seeing kids and being raised by various friends and stuff like that. I think that's what tends to happen there, and I think that's why kids get to this point where they try mom a little more frequently, because dads could be a little bit more consistent, black and white when it comes to that, but then moms could be a little like, I just feel bad that I even had to whoop them, or I feel bad that they didn't get this, and I understand why they're upset, and da-da-da-da-da. But then at the same time, it's like, you have to have that balance of, while you want to love on them, and kids need to be hugged, and they need to be kissed, and they need to be told that they're beautiful and all that stuff. But at the same rate that you do that, there needs to be constant, well, these are the boundaries. These are the rules. And you can't do that. You can't talk to an adult like that, and you can't be running around here saying, you my child, with a 54 in any class.
Well, I know we have some comments, so go ahead and read some of the comments.
All right, so let's see. Mamie said, I don't like bad kids. She ain't lying about that. She won't deal with nobody bad kids. That's a fact. Chris said, I'm an advocate for reading all you can about early childhood education before and after the child is born. Amen to that. I read a bunch of books by James Dobson and such like at me as an early father. I was 21 years old, so I was scared to death. So I read all kind of books, asked all kind of advice. But he said there's a real science to some things, and in the black community, we've got to embrace that. That's true. I think we'd be out of order. I agree, Chris. Mamie said, if family was to sit down at the dinner table and eat, you will find more out about your children and what they did that day or what was it like, and you can handle the situations properly. That's true. Families do need to come together better. Mamie also said because when you're eating, you're talking, communicating about the things and everything that's in that child's day, and you find out some interesting stuff. That is true.
Yeah.
And at that dinner table, you have to have open communication. The children have to feel comfortable to say X, Y, Z thing, and they have to feel like they get a response that, okay, my parent is truly interested in what's going on. And that's hard for a parent sometimes. So sometimes you're tired. You didn't work a long day. These jokers done got on your nerves at work. These Bama's done tried you, tested you. And let's be honest, if you're black in America, you get tested in a lot of different ways. Sometimes our white counterparts, y'all don't even realize y'all testing us sometimes. I'm giving you a scapegoat here. So before y'all get upset about what I'm saying, listen to what I'm saying. Sometimes y'all try us and you don't even realize you're trying us. Some of y'all do know you're trying this. You need to get right.
This may be a soundbite, but I wanted to say on Mother's Day, I noticed that we celebrate all of our black mamas, and they've done so much for us. And we, as in the black community, the black mama is revered, okay? But what I wanted to say is that motherhood should not be a burden, nor should you feel obligated to be a mom and dad by yourself. I will say that again, motherhood should not be a burden. So I want to challenge us to change the narrative. Motherhood should be a shared responsibility with somebody else. I'll say it again, almost like a pastor. Motherhood should be a shared responsibility with someone else. You should not go into, I'm going to be a mom and I'm going to be the end all be all and be burdened down and worn down. Because the reality is when you're worn down from work and providing, you probably can't give that nurturing relationship that your kids learn for, and that is your natural innate ability as a woman because you're worn down. So you need to go into motherhood with a plan. And the plan should be a shared responsibility. That means being more selective with the men that you were laying down with. If you're just having sex because you're having fun, you got to protect yourself, sis. There's no need to create a child in something that's not a planned situation.
And if I could chime in here, actually, before I chime in, Chris said, I think a major part of the problem in the black community with discipline is that the rules are too restrictive and parents and children don't have relationships. I think that's a good point. But going back on something that Katrina was just talking about planning is, and I know I'm going to invoke the devil's name to some of y'all, but Kevin Samuels making a good point.
Oh,
all right, yeah, I'm about to go there. Shout out to Kevin Samuels. Yeah, because, hey, he's got a dope platform. I enjoy it. I follow it. You know what I'm saying? I watch him. I think he's a dope dude. But I want to give credit to his platform. But we've been talking about this stuff in the Nitty Gritty show. Y'all can look at the tapes. Back in 2017, we've been having these conversations. I'm not stealing. But I do want to give him credit because I know he's actively talking about it now. But we have to address the fact that too often, and I know this is Mother's Day. We're not supposed to say stuff like this on Mother's Day. But too often, our sisters are becoming mothers before wives. Now, I get it. Things happen. So it may happen at one time to you. But we shouldn't make a habit of doing this all the time. Because I hear a lot of women say, I'm doing it all by myself today on Mother's Day. I had to do it all. And like Katrina said, no one should be burdened with being a mother all by themselves. And if you knew that after you made the first baby with JoJo, he was no good, why did you make a second baby, and a third baby, and a fourth baby? By a Bama who could never take care of himself. You claim he played video games all day. He cheating with everybody. He ain't no good.
Yeah, you still having babies.
But you still having babies with him. And you haven't required him to be a husband or to make you a wife. And at some point, we have to look at, okay, here's the situation. It is what it is. What am I going to do to correct? So I'm not going to hammer you all day about the fact that, the babies are here. You got to deal with it. So what are you going to do now that they're here? What kind of structure are you going to try to set things up for? Maybe the dad is a deadbeat. Okay, if he is, what kind of presence are we going to bring around to make up for that gap that the kid may be missing? And I think and the reason why we really wanted to have this conversation tonight is because our community needs to be stronger. We need to do better. And like the example that we're using with this exchange between the teacher and the parent, we should be concerned about outcomes. And I got to ask everybody in the chat, and I want to hear your thoughts. When does a child become an adult? I'll take any response. I'm curious to really see what people say. Even if you're watching this after the fact, make a comment. I'm going to probably even throw a poll throughout the week. But I want to know, when does a child become an adult? And when you start asking yourself that question, if the answer is 18, 25, 21, 16, 15, whatever your answer is and why, then what are you doing to ensure that they're fully capable of all their responsibilities by said age that you list? Also, you got to still keep in mind that the government still looks at them as an adult at 18. So even with that in mind, if your age is afterwards, what are we doing so that you know that they're not fully developed their brains? So what are you doing to make sure that even that being not fully developed in their anatomy, how can they still operate in a way that's going to give them the best possible outcome for their life?
Yeah, Lana has a couple of comments here. She says, yes, motherhood is shared. Why am I doing all the work on a group project? She also said, no to Kevin Samuels, he is trash. Then she said, I may or may not want to marry you.
She didn't say that about my boy.
She said, I may or may not want to marry you, but I would co-parent. That should be the conversation, not get married because we got a kid. 25 is when the child becomes an adult. I agree with that, but I'm the kind of person where marriage is not the end-all, be-all answer, so I agree with that. But I don't think that co-parenting is easy. I feel like if you are just casually dating somebody, to assume that we have the ability to co-parent, there's nothing that's holding us together. The difference between a marriage and co-parenting is that we are in a covenant together. So I can't just jump out of a marriage just because I say I'm jumping out. I mean, you can, but there's a legal process that has to go through to get out of that thing. And I just feel like whether it's marriage or co-parenting, I feel like we need to approach sex differently. I get it, sex feels great. I get it, you get lonely. I get it, adults do what adults do. But the risk of having a child is great, and you need to understand the ramifications of that risk. And at the end of the day, we can no longer as a community say, well, I was struggling and I had a da-da-da-da. No, you know what it is. You are part of the problem if you are bringing kids into a world that you're not prepared for. If you yourself are prepared to be an adult, you shouldn't be bringing another kid. I mean, that's just, I hate to be like black and white, but is that real?
Yeah.
Like at 25, I didn't know myself. So I had no business bringing in a kid into the world. I have never been pregnant. But the point being is that I knew that, therefore I never put myself in a position to be pregnant because I didn't want to have the guilt of having to have an abortion. Because I can tell you right here, right now, had I been pregnant at 25, y'all probably would be surprised to hear this, but I would have gotten an abortion because I knew I was not ready to be a mom. And with that being said, I think we need to debunk the social stigma around abortion and talk about it more. Abortion is an option.
It's an option, and you
should use it.
And I think the thing that people need to understand too about it is, this may hurt a lot of people's feelings, but what was the point of having a child that you were only going to throw all your bad baggage in, that you were going to bring into poverty, that you were going to bring into a broken relationship, or a relationship you had on Tinder and been on, or some dude you got pregnant by because he was looking good, he had on some nice Jordans and a cool chain at the club.
And he said, I don't want to be with you.
Listen, then even before you realized you was pregnant, the dude didn't want you. He just had a good time with you that night, went on about his business, he was in another relationship, he was already cheating.
You can't co-parent with that.
Yeah, I'm just saying. And then, okay, maybe you was drunk so you didn't use a condom like you were supposed to. But we see some people getting pregnant in some crazy situations. And then you want to go forward with a pregnancy, but then people can't figure out how to go forward in marriage first. And so when we start looking at our wealth and our money and our status in society, it all goes back to these early choices. So young ladies, you can't open your legs up to any man. Young men, you should be spending most of your time, 95% of your time, young men, should be focused on your education, developing your mind, and getting your pockets as fat as possible. You shouldn't be out here chasing women. You shouldn't be out here chasing skirts. And I've been a young man before. I get it. The hunger is real. Yeah, a lot of us think between our legs and not between our ears, but we need to change our thought process. Stop chasing women. Women will come to you if you get your pockets right. If your mind is right, I'm just saying.
That's the thing.
We have to start dealing with real outcomes.
Like, I don't even think marriage is the answer or the solution, right? Like, I don't think it should be, you need to think about marriage. But to your point, if you're not together, you shouldn't be having a child. Like, that should be, like, literally your thought process is, I know I'm not together, I shouldn't have a child. I would prefer more single parent moms take the time to get to know themselves, get experiences, get more money, and then if they have a kid and it's not ideal, at least be in a better position to give and provide for the kid. Because there's too many kids that are coming into our community and we not in a good position.
And look, the numbers don't lie, y'all. Census just came out and only backs the numbers further. 69% of custodial parents, their prime income is child support. If your prime income is child support, that means more than likely you're getting EBT, you're getting some type of state or socially ran program to help you, and those programs are there to help, but they shouldn't be a crutch or a relied upon source long term. I get it, a lot of black families had to at some point maybe go on welfare or get some assistance. Life happens and the help is there, you're supposed to take advantage of it. But it shouldn't be your plan A. That should be like everything I tried to do did not go. I got laid off from a job in the pandemic, so now I got EBT. It shouldn't be, I'm going to have this baby, oh, it's all right. We're going to go get something first, and we're going to get this, and we're going to get that, and we're going to get WIC, and we'll figure it out. Your first plan should have been, no, I have a 401k, or I have some money saved up, or I already live in a nice apartment or a condo. You know what? If we change this to our spending and that to our spending, and we don't go on the trip to Mexico next year, we can actually afford to go buy a house and put the child in there. Mm-hmm. But we're not thinking like that. And I put the onus on both men and women on this. Women, we can't spread our legs for any kind of guy. And men, you shouldn't be worried about getting between some woman's legs because you should be focused on getting your money up. You should be out there working 2, 3 jobs, 4 jobs. You should be in school, getting some type of trade, going to college. You should be joining the military, traveling the world, keeping your stuff in your pants.
The thing is, some people really are addicted to sex, and I think that your mind is focused more on the hustle and bustle.
But the fact is, if you want the right outcome, if you focus on sex, sex has repercussions. Yeah. One, you can sleep with a young lady, and you may sell her any kind of dream, and if you break her heart, she may break your furniture. She may break the windows of your car. She may cause you all kind of heartache and grief following you on social media. Is it worth it? You may get her pregnant, and now for the next 18 years or 25 years, depending on what state you're in, you paying child support, right? Or you sleeping around with everything, and you might contract a disease. You get what I'm saying? Like, if you was focused on your money, getting your paper right, you could then have your pick of the litter, the kind of woman you want to actually lay down with, and then it could be someone quality that you would actually want to have babies with in marriage. Mm-hmm. So the chances of you getting someone that will work with you in co-parenting, the chances of you getting someone who's not going to try to bury you in child support because she has her own are higher because you focus on getting your pockets together. Young men, I'm talking to y'all. And you don't have to like me, but it's the truth.
Lana says, a lot of people should also normalize not wanting children. I agree. She says there was a guy who told a woman he didn't want kids and went to court and sued the mom because he didn't want a kid. Wow, I didn't know that you can do that. That's kudos to him. Some people are taught to chase the opposite sex, also chasing love. Some people don't know they aren't together. They think it's all good and then the kid get here, laugh aloud. If the primary job is parenthood, then the primary income should be some sort of child support. Think about it. Being a parent is a whole job. It is. But that's why I feel like you should put yourself, I feel like because it is a whole job, you shouldn't go into it as, well,
you should just have a baby willy-nilly.
Yeah, I'm pregnant and he needs to take care of his responsibilities. No, that's not fair. You should look at it as it's a whole job. So let me get my paper up. So then that way, in the event I have a kid and the dad doesn't want to be involved, me and little Johnny are wanting for nothing. We gotta be good over here. And if you take him to court for child support, you do. But you're not out here like, dang, I don't know how I'm gonna feed this kid. I mean, there are people who literally don't know how they're going to feed their kid. And that, to me, is, I could never, I mean, life happens. So I don't want to make it seem like I'm looking from a high place. Because anything can happen.
But life happens.
I don't want to ever be in a situation where my kids are, like, literally, like, starving. Like, I would never be able to, like, live with myself. So, I don't know. I'm a very planned kind of person. But I get it. Everybody don't work that way. I can't just walk around life and just move and just whatever happens. I can't be that kind of free. But maybe it's because, back to the root of the conversation, I grew up with structure. I grew up with accountability. I grew up with people with discipline. So maybe that's the reason why, in some ways, when you have these things, it kind of permeates in your adult, or it shows up in your adult life. I didn't grow up with a scattered life. I had, time to get up, time to go bed. You shower. I had order.
And that order works. Chris made some good comments, and we're going to get ready to close out on this note because, man, time went by fast tonight. Chris said, I believe, like many of the problems in the black community, the broken family problems come from deep emotional issues exacerbated by the consequences of being black in America. And I think you're right, Chris. There's definitely a systematic piece or portion to some of these ills that we're dealing with, especially in our community. And then another comment he made was, a lot of us black men subconsciously behave as if our only value is in our penis.
Ooh.
That was a good point.
And then Lana said there are starting to be a lot of single fathers out here too. I'm not that may be true. I think from what I can see, I could be wrong. The difference between single fathers and single mothers is that when you meet a single father, I've never heard single fathers complain, "What was me? I'm so tired. I'm doing the job above." They're like, "Look, I'm taking care of these kids. It's hard. I gotta do what I gotta do." Women tend to, "Woe is me. I'm so tired. I don't have any help." Well, you made that decision, kind of, sort of.
Yeah.
You kind of did.
Yeah, and we have to take accountability for our actions. So, look, guys, like I said, this wasn't a session to beat up on people, but this is to, and this is always the objective of the Nitty Gritty show, is to have real conversations to get the wheels turning, to get the light bulbs flickering in our heads, to start really approaching things objectively and not emotionally, and say, you know what? Let me not feel attacked. Let me not feel criticized, but instead, let me feel energized and willing to go about life with change so I can have better outcomes and results.
Oh, and trust believe, when Father's Day come around, we got some smoke for fathers too, because there are a lot of men who are dads, but they're not present. So back to my original comment, motherhood is a shared responsibility as fatherhood. Don't think because you married, well, go see your mama. I'm sorry, there's too many dads who don't know what the heck's going on when it comes to their kids. They don't know how to put a bobo in, how to change a diaper. They don't know what time the kid's supposed to be at school. They don't even know the name of the teacher's name. Like, fathers need to get involved and stop relying on mom to work and be the full-time parent. You got to change boo-boo diapers too. You got to comb hair too. So, and the thing is, I don't know about the rest of y'all, this whole, my kids got to stay with me and I don't want my kid to see their daddy. It's weird to me. Trust and believe. When me and Juan have kids, Shekinah Glory over here, that ain't going to be her name, but for this purposes, she need a diaper change, sir. It's time for you. We going to take turns. I did it the other time. Wani, it's time for you to change.
You going to be primarily changing that diaper.
Change Shekinah Glory.
I do what I got to do.
Shekinah Glory need a diaper change.
I do what I got to do when I got to. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, them first couple of months, she gonna primarily deal with you. I don't got nothing to feed.
No. We make a baby together. You gonna change your diaper the same amount of times that I changed diaper.
We'll talk about this offline. But
y'all see, that ain't a good situation. Y'all see,
I'm an amazing situation because
you sit here.
Don't I cook and all that stuff? So you already know. Don't you see me around the kids? You already know how I handle my business. We don't need to worry about that. We talk about that offline. You know what I'm saying? But look, let me play some music real quick.
She said, because Chris is about sharing that workload. You changing some boo-boo diapers. With gloves and
I don't mind changing diapers.
Okay.
All right then. I don't need no direction on that.
Like Shekinah gonna have it, equal.
All right.
Because I get tired.
I know how to change diapers. I didn't change 3 butts. You know what I'm saying? We just want to make sure that you can do it too.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So that way we can eventually play this song for you one day. Shout out the boys to them.
Juan's trying to shame me also. In the spirit of peacefulness, I'm just going to sit here like this.
Look, shout out to all the mamas once again. We really do love y'all. Shout out to Mamie. I love you to death. Shout out to my grandmother, Elizabeth Stroman. Shout out to all my aunts. Shout out to all the teachers out there. They were like secondary mamas to me. Shout out to sisters in the church like Lemon Poindexter. She was like a second mama. Like, shout out to all the mamas. Shout out to Sonny and all of y'all watching. Beverly. Shout out to Jen. Any mamas you want to shout out? I can't name them all. So if I didn't name you.
All of my grandmothers, all of my aunts, all of my cousins, Lana, Liz, all y'all because at the end of the day, you put your bodies through an amazing time period to have these kids, and they're here, and you're doing the daggone thing. So kudos to all of you.
Yeah, so shout out to all the mamas. Like, as a man, I could never imagine pushing 8, 6, 7 pounds out of me at any given time. So, like, literally, kudos to all mamas that would even take the chance to go through that. We understand child rearing is not an easy thing. So to make the decision to go through that pain, to put your body at risk like that, is still a commendable thing. But we just want to make sure we're also thinking about the outcome as well. But yeah, happy Mother's Day. Also got some birthdays to shout out. Shout out to the Dave Ross. I don't know how old Dave is, but I know he up there. I know he's been around for a while. But shout out Dave. Shout out to Ariel Stevens. Shout out to my homie Quincy Burrell. Shout out to Devin Bird. Shout out to the homie Fred Scott. His birthday I think was like this past Friday. Shout out to Rob Ballard. Shout out to Maya Hall. Shout out to Kerry Johnson. And shout out to the homie Dorisha Bate. All having birthdays within this week. And also got some anniversaries. Shout out to Melvin and Jane Tahir. And also shout out to Rodney and Buvette Pennington. 23 years of marriage. K-Fam. So happy for you guys. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, share these videos with your friends. We always want to get the content up. Have another soapbox dropping on Wednesday. Music Monday tomorrow. I saw all the mics, so we'll try to make sure that Katrina's on Music Monday. You know, share her thoughts on music. Y'all can remember you tune into IG for Music Mondays. So if you want to check out Music Monday, holler at us tomorrow night, 9 p.m. on Instagram at The Nitty Gritty Show. You gotta type in the whole thing like a Tribe Called Quest. Speaking of typing in the whole thing, when it comes to The Nitty Gritty Show, don't forget we have merch available on squadlocker.com, www.squadlocker.com, and then you search The Nitty Gritty Show. And we thank you guys for all the support. Thank you guys for watching. Once again, shout out to all the mamas. It was a great show. Man, I feel like there was one other thing. Oh, Chris said if he requested you to sing a song. I didn't read this comment earlier, but Chris said it. If he requested you to sing a song, would you sing it for him?
What is the best poem song?
All right, Chris. So put your request in. Let's see what we can get going. So look, it's been another great show, guys. Thank you guys for watching. It's your boy J.D. Costa.
It is your girl Cassie.
And together we are The Nitty Gritty. We out. Thank you guys for watching. And we'll see you back next Sunday. We out.